I want to talk about boxing fans and being in their feeling and not being logical, man. Especially the men in the boxing community, man. As a man, you shouldn't make decisions based purely on your feelings. When you do that, you tend to make bad judgment calls, or you judge things badly, or you over exaggerate what's really in front of you. Now, with this Keith Thurman, Earl Spence thing, man, I've been listening to a lot of channels, man, over the last couple of days, man, and it's like a lot of it's like a soap opera. It's like looking at the soap opera, like when I was younger, and my mama looking at the soaps and women yelling back and forth at each other, and not going anywhere, having these circular arguments and things not getting no solutions, nothing getting done, just a bunch of chaos. And that's what it seems like with me looking at these boxing channels, man. A lot of guys, acting like, what I'm saying, like a soap opera, man. Like this is supposed to be a gladiator sport, right? So, you know, uh, Keith Thurman, we all know his situation. We all know the man coming back off of injury, right? Anytime any athlete of any realm come off of injury, you treat it with caution, because the worst thing you can do is push it too far, push it too fast, too hard, and you go right back and be injured again. Because one thing about, and he had surgery, and one thing about having surgery, you don't want them to cut you open and have surgery again on the same thing, the same having the same procedure in the same spot again. Because the chances of recovery goes down. It diminishes every time you have to go and open the same procedure up and further do more work on the same procedure. Like, yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, Sean Newton boxing. But Earl Spence, before he fought Kell Brook, I picked Kell Brook to win the fight. Um because up until that point, Earl Spence didn't show me that he can beat a fighter that was coming to win, that he was in the ring with, that actually had a chance of beating him. Before, he was in the contender stage. He fought guys that were brought in for him to look good in, for him to showcase his skills. I've been watching boxing a long time. I know what phases fighters are in, especially when they have big promoters behind them. The big promoters is not going to put them in fights that they can possibly lose, or be in a 50-50 fight when they first come up. They have fights for them that are showcase fights, and fights for them to get better. Now, Earl Spence did pass the test of being a contender, but to be a champion, he had to pass the next phase, and I wasn't sure that he was going to pass that phase. But look, he showed me wrong. And being a man, like, instead of being in my feelings like a lot of guys, when I got further data, I looked at the data and I reassessed Earl Spence. And I said, man, this guy is a really good fighter, because what he did as a contender, he's continuing to do on the next level. And I consider Brook as being on that next level. And not being in my feelings and continue saying the man can't do this, he can't do that. I had to reassess what I seen prior to him fighting Kell Brook. He made me a believer. And then when he fought when he fought his last fight, yes, I thought it was going to be a more of a contention fight. I thought the Lamont Peterson was going to fight a different fight. He fought totally different than what I thought he was going to fight. But that's never that's not here nor there. Earl Spence went in and stopped him, like he'd been stopping his last, what, 12 opponents. And when I look at the Keith Thurman versus Spence and the Keith Thurman versus Crawford fight, I look at them as 50-50 fights now. At first, I didn't look at Earl Spence versus Keith Thurman as a 50-50 fight. I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it more of a 60-40, 70-30 fight before the Carol Brook performance. After more data, I had to reassess. That's what a man does. He doesn't get in his feelings and not see what's in front of him and say, okay, I have to reassess what I've seen, because now I have seen more. Until Earl Spence showed me different, right now, him and Keith Thurman, him and uh Terrence Crawford is a 50-50 fight. Now, but I do give both of those guys, even though I like Terrence Crawford, and I'm picking Terrence Crawford to beat both of those guys. I have to get more data on Terrence Crawford as far as how he's gonna do in the welterweight division. So his test will be coming up against Jeff Horn. So if Keith Thurman or Earl Spence would have fought Terrence Crawford before Jeff Horn, I will have to get him the edge, seeing that I have data on how they dominated or was successful at 147. You see how that works? And no disrespect to 78 in Blood, and they're not the only ones, but these are the channels I mostly listen to. These guys have really good channels, and I've been listening to these guys' channels for last 3 or 4 years. Blood, he indicated that Keith Thurman didn't earn his belts, but we all know Keith Thurman was the interim WBA champion for a long time. Mayweather was a super champion. When Mayweather retired, because that's what, when fighters retire, you can't take the belt with you. The belt is not, you don't take the belt. They send you a copy of the belt, a replica of the belt, so you can have it in your trophy case, but you don't take the belt, the prestiges of the belt with you. He vacated the belt. They elevated Keith Thurman to super WBA champion because he was the interim champion for so long, waiting on to see if he can fight Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd Mayweather never gave him the fight. Now, the WBC belt was earned by him in the ring when he fought and defeated Danny Garcia, because Danny Garcia fought Guerrero for the vacant WBC title when Mayweather retired. That's what, Blood, you already know this, man. You know when that man retired that he can't take the belts with him. So for you to say Keith Thurman didn't earn his 2 belts, yes, he did. That's false. The man earned his belts. And Blood, sometimes you can get in your feelings. Like right now, you in your feelings. I'm going to tell you why you and 78 are in your feelings right now. And then 78 said he want to boycott the Keith Thurman fights. Did you boycott the first 12 or how many fights that Keith Thurman has been televised so far? Because you had no data to show that you should boycott Keith Thurman fights, right? Am I right? What data do you have right now to show that Keith Thurman is unworthy of his fights being seen and not being boycotted by you? It's only because you feel a certain way. You feel like he should be fighting Earl Spence this year. That's your feeling, right? But like I said, when you coming off a injury, and not only injury, when you coming off a surgery, the man had surgery on his elbow, which you use to punch with. You only in boxing it's your feet and your hands. He needs his hands to be successful. And y'all say Earl Spence is the truth, right? Okay, if he's the truth, I wouldn't want to get in the ring unless I'm 100% or feel like I'm ready to fight the truth. Why should Keith Thurman get in the ring when y'all want him to get in the ring? Y'all want him to get in the ring after a tune-up and fight the truth. Keith Thurman, in so many words, is telling y'all that he believes that Earl Spence is a level above Danny Garcia, because he stated in one of his recent interviews that his elbow was bothering him before in camp during the Danny Garcia fight. He said he went along with the fight. He didn't disclose an injury. He didn't talk about it because he didn't want to complain about it. He didn't want to make it an issue. And he fought Danny Garcia with that injury. He said after that fight, he knew that he could no longer fight with that injury. And he's telling y'all that Earl Spence is a level above Shawn Porter and Garcia, because he's not going to get in the ring with Earl Spence with that type of injury or with that type of pain going through his elbow. So he had surgery. And then he said another thing. See, Keith Thurman is a intelligent man. And he has a mentality of, I'm going to do what's best for me, which you're supposed to do what's best for you. It's called self-preservation. It's called self-preservation. You're supposed to think about you before you think about anybody else. That's how it works. That's how not only a man thinks, that's how a human being should think. You should have self-preservation before you worry about what somebody else think or how they're in their feelings or what they feel. So Keith Thurman has not been in the ring for about what? About a year? Keith Thurman's body is a machine. He's not a slugger. He's not a guy that goes in there and throws and just rock'em sock'em robots. Keith Thurman is a precision puncher. He's a precision power puncher. He has to be in camp and have several fights before he gets in the ring with Errol Spence. I'm going to tell you that right now. Errol Spence is no joke. Errol Spence is a pressure fighter. Errol Spence is a body snatcher. He goes to the body very well. Now, he has problems, which I don't think he fights I don't think he's a very good fighter in the center of the ring. And I can't go off of that Lamont Peterson fight because Lamont Peterson just stood there with his hands up. That showed me nothing. Lamont Peterson had no foot movement or nothing. So that showed me nothing, really. But what I'm going to say is this. Errol Spence has the mental capacity, and he has the stamina and the condition to beat any fighter. Keith Thurman has to be 100% before he go in the ring with that man. He has to be 100% mentally and physically. So what he's trying to say, and people always say, oh, I want people to tell me the truth. No, people don't want to hear the truth. People don't want to hear the truth. People want to hear a version of what they perceive the truth should be. They don't want to hear, this man said, I want to have a tune-up fight, and then I want to have another fight. 2019, I can start talking about unifying titles. Because guess what? Guess what he's trying to tell you? Errol Spence and whoever win it, and he thinking that Crawford, like we all think Crawford gonna beat Jeff Horn. He knows those guys are a level above Sean Porter and Garcia. He has to be at his absolute best. So it seemed like to me that people don't want Keith Thurman to be at his absolute best. People don't want Keith Thurman to be ready mentally and physically. They just want him to go in the ring with Errol Spence how they want him to go in the ring with Errol Spence. If a man tells you that he's not ready for that level of a fighter or that level of competition, you should respect that. You should respect that as a man, because I respect it. If a man, I don't want Keith Thurman to go in there and fight Errol Spence early, and then after the fight talk about his injury, because I don't want to hear about no injury after the fact because you got in the ring. See, if Keith Thurman get in the ring and he lose to Errol Spence, he say, man, I couldn't really pull the trigger because my arm it wasn't like I thought it was going to be. It didn't react. People will not give him a pass on that. So what Keith Thurman is doing is he's doing this. He's a three-dimensional thinker. He's thinking ahead of y'all. He's cutting y'all off at the path. He's saying, I'm going to be mentally and physically ready. Mainly, I'm going to be physically ready to go in that ring with that man because I know that these people are not going to give me a pass if I go in there not 100% and then and then if I say, man, I couldn't pull the trigger on my elbow because it was hurting, that they're going to give me a pass. He knows he knows he's not going to get a pass with that. So instead of people being in their feelings, they should respect that the man is saying he's not ready. Oh, he's scared. Oh, he's ducking. Look, don't give me what you feel, because a man shouldn't go off of what he feels, purely off of what he feels. He should go off of logic and data. Show me the data, the actions that Keith Thurman took that showed you that he ever ducked a fighter. And then show me the data that show me the data and the actions he took that he's scared of Errol Spence Jr. Now, if you can show me that, then I can reassess everything and I can come to a conclusion to say, oh, yeah, he ducked, or yeah, he's scared of Errol Spence. If you can't, don't tell me about your feelings. You got to go talk to somebody else about your feelings. I don't want to hear about your feelings. Go talk. Hey, your feelings has nothing to do with another man. Your feelings shouldn't be you shouldn't have your feelings in another man anyway. That's for your kids and your wife and your family, not for a man that you don't even know, you have no relationship with. It should be purely off of data. Show me that data when that man showed that he was scared, and show me the data where Keith Thurman showed that he don't want to fight the best. Because it's a lot of people that respect Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Those guys was in the top 10 when Keith Thurman fought him, and he fought them back to back. Danny Garcia, I believe, was in the top 5. Danny Garcia was a WBC champion at the time. So that was unified. He unified that title. So he's been in a unification match. The only person with the welterweight championship right now that's been in a unification match was Keith Thurman. Now, you can say the other guys haven't had an opportunity yet. Yeah, they didn't have an opportunity yet. But Keith Thurman, when the opportunity was presented, he unified the belts. He unified the titles. Due to injury, like what he said. He said, man, I would love to make another unification fight. But due to my injury, due to my situation, I have to step back, reassess, push the pause button, think, and say, okay, I can't fight that. I can't fight Errol Spence right now. I need a warm-up fight. Well, I don't call it a warm-up fight. I need a fight before him to go through a training camp, see how my elbow react, get into the fight, see how my elbow reacts, see how the couple days after that, do I get any swelling, do I get any pain? If not, maybe I can reassess and I can and tell myself, you know what? I'm ready for the Spence fight. Because by y'all trying to shame the man into fighting, that to me, that's not going to make the fight happen. I was into a trainer. I think it was Joel Diaz. Was it Joel Diaz? No, it was Ronnie Shields. Ronnie Shields said, if I was Keith Thurman, I will also have a tune-up fight and also make sure that I'm ready 100% to get in the ring with Errol Spence. Because he said he thinks Errol Spence is the truth. Ronnie Shields said, I think Errol Spence is the best welterweight. And to be in the ring with the best welterweight, you better be ready 100%. And 100% mentally, you better be ready. Because one thing about having an injury, you doubt yourself. You doubt physically if you can do it, if you can be like you were before the injury. So he's not only behind the 8-ball on not fighting almost a year, he's behind the 8-ball because he didn't even test out his elbow in real action. He didn't test out his elbow in practice, let alone real action. So, man, dude, hey, look, man, don't turn this. I can't say don't turn it, but it's already been turned to a soap opera, man. People, and look, we all are men. We're not guided by estrogen. We need to start looking at things with logic and looking at the data and what the data is telling you. Data telling me that Keith Thurman is willing to fight the best because he showed me he's willing to fight the best. He has not yet showed me that he's not willing to fight the best yet. Keith Thurman has not shown me that yet. Until he showed me that, then I can reassess it and I can come on here and I can tell you, man, Keith Thurman is ducking or Keith Thurman don't want to fight the best. Until he showed me that, I don't know what to tell you. You know? I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, man, Keith Thurman, like I said before, Keith Thurman, do what you got to do to make sure that you're 100% ready because he knows it's a gauntlet coming. If you got to fight Terrence Crawford and you got to fight Errol Spence to be undisputed, that's a gauntlet. That's you know what I'm saying? That's history. That's him being amongst the best, not only amongst the best welterweights of all times, that's Keith Thurman can possibly be one of the best fighters of all times. So you have to be ready, man. You don't want to be getting in there because somebody put a battery in your back and say, man, just go and do it, man. I don't care about your elbow. Those people are not going to be in the ring trying to do it. Man, this is Boxing Talk 8576, man. I'm out, man.